never talked to them boys that sat on the benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work. What is going on, Florida State family, Seminole Nation, and the 863 tribe? It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Lo, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. Trying to make sure my audio sounds right if I look like I'm doing a little fidgeting, because I'm struggling to hear myself on my headphones. Give me a minute. Give me a quick second. Nope, sounds fine. Okay, I sound good. Okay. What's going on, y'all? I know normally this is the time of the week where we preview the next opponent. And, we do all of that good stuff. And we pick players of the games and all of that. Not this week. Not necessary this week. I think we all can agree. It is not necessary this week to go and scout ahead to the mighty, what are they? The mighty Northern Alabama. I don't even know the mascot of them. But it's not necessary. But I'd be remiss if I did not talk about a lot of interesting developments happening. So today I wanted to combine, because I think what's happening in recruiting is going to also hit this roster in the transfer portal. So I think it's very important today that we talk about recruiting and we talk about just a pre-postseason preview. Maybe a little redundant there, but some expectations you can expect in this offseason, I think, are important to discuss, and I think it all links with the recruiting. So that is what is on tonight's agenda. It is the Hangover. It is episode 98. As always, we have to pay these bills before we get cracking. We do have some ACC football on in the background. Excuse me. Pitt and Boston College are playing as we speak. I think Pitt is up 10-3 on Boston College. So we'll continue to pay attention to that game. That game holds no significance to the ACC championship, but Miami does play Boston College after Louisville. So that might be a game that Miami fans want to pay attention to coming up here. But let's pay these bills, man. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share. And as always, you're going to hit this roll call like we do on every Hangover. We hit the roll calls. So get in that chat. Again, share the videos. Let people know we are live here tonight. And we're not going to waste your or my time any longer. But we're going to go down this we're going to talk about this recruiting, and we're going to talk about this offseason. Since we got a gimme game for the most part, I think all would agree. We have a gimme game this weekend. So at the top of the 11-minute mark, we'll start this roll call, man. So again, quickly, man, share the video. Let people know we are live. Share the video, hit the like button. And of course, if for whatever reason you're new, which I don't expect anybody to be new in here at this very moment, subscribe to the channel. There we go. After the 11-minute mark, let's hit it. Scroll up here and let's do this quick roll call. Peter Shields is in the building. Ray Fitty, Island Boy. Donald Gelsey. Gator Hater. Todd Pope. Tyler Hedden. Jonathan McIntosh, FSU Tony, Grill Master, Vontae B, Jeff Hill, Dupree Hundo, ML 1219, Fatal Jedi 2672, Seminole Zach 95, Gaming Wizard, and that looks like 226 Tim. Anthony Cheers are all in the building. Jalen's in the building. How are you doing, Jalen? How's the recruiting process going on with you, young man? I'm excited to hear what's going on with you. He says he's got a visit to North Alabama this week. Well, North Alabama is in they're playing in Tallahassee, so are you visiting Florida State this week? That's what's up if that's true, man. That's dope. Florida, what grade are you in again? You in your junior year, if I'm not mistaken, Jalen. We'll talk. Y'all go ahead and hit the like button, man. Let's get into this. Let's talk this recruiting piece that is going to bleed over into this offseason. But I want to ask a question before we get started because this is pivotal. I think there's a lot of talk about FSU right now on the trail and the way this thing's looking. But the question I want to ask before we get started is, if you've watched me for any amount of time, I've had one major criticism of this staff when it comes to recruiting. Now, I understand that we all say winning and winning and blah, blah, blah. I'm twisting my mouth's all twisted up. Winning helps you recruit, right? And some people think recruiters recruit. Got all of that. What's been my criticism of this staff? What's been the trend? You know what? Forget my criticisms. I'll ask a better question. Some people say my criticisms can be unfair at times. What's been the trend of this staff the last 3 years in the recruiting process? I'll give you time if anybody wants to answer it. If not, I'll just go ahead and throw that out there. But I'll give you a little bit of time. Ooh, Tyler with the nail on the head. I was wondering if somebody was going to say it. They've struggled to close in recent years, including last year. Now, last year, you can look at it as a semi-success, about 50-50 success, because you did land Hussey and Edwin to close off, but you also lost Keldrick Falk at the end, and you did not close on that, I forget his name, the linebacker that ended up going to Virginia that we needed, who's a damn good player. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, go watch that Louisville game. That linebacker from Virginia was all over the place. I forget his name off the top of my head. I think it's Cameron something. I forget. We couldn't close on him. We missed out on him. Obviously, Falk flips to Auburn. We were able to close on Conrad Hussey. That's still a 50-50. Now, I don't know when, and no line of work is 50% acceptable. 50% is not acceptable in school or on the professional level. So we also know the previous years not being able to close stretch. We all know how the infamous 20 Did I drop out there, guys? Did you guys miss me for a second? Did I drop out for a second? Let me see. I feel like I was talking to myself for a second, according to my computer. That's what I thought. Y'all didn't hear. Yeah, I did. I dropped out. I dropped out for about, I don't know, a minute, 30 seconds, something like that. Okay. let's continue where I left off. Like I was saying, in no line of work, man, is 50% acceptable. Last year, about a 50% hit rate. You missed out on two. You were able to close on two. FSU hasn't really been able to close the deal at the end of FSU's trend has been they secure their class by the end of summer. By the end of summer, FSU have their core of their class. They have it signed, sealed, and delivered. And that's no different this year. By the end of summer, they had Luke Croman-Holt, Cam Davis, Charles Lester, KJ Bolden. They had the core of their class already committed. And of course, you're going to get hit and miss. You're going to get guys that decommitting. We'll talk about a guy who may be leaving the class coming up shortly. But for the most part, by the end of summer, before fall, FSU already has their core of their class. They've struggled adding more meat to the class. Landon Thomas is another one, good one, grill master. They've struggled in recent years adding more meat to the class at the end of it, adding that last icing on the cake, so to speak, or those finishing touches. That doesn't look like the trend this year, but I'm very interested to see. Very interested to see how they finish at the end of this year, because they are, and this is going to lead into the guy that we are talking about who may be leaving this class. But because they are big game fishing right now, there's guys that have been committed to this class that are going to be, unfortunately, man, pushed out. And we're going to talk about one right now. And CJ Hurd has been reporting today by 247 Sports that it's looking like, and I believe it or not, it looked like he might be flipping to the Hurricanes. That CJ Hurd may not end up in this class. It's very likely that CJ Hurd will not end up in FSU's class. Well, why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal for a couple of reasons. If you haven't been paying attention, FSU recently got a crystal ball for Bates. What's his first name? But he decommitted from LSU this weekend and is now getting crystal ball to FSU. Kai Bates out of Orlando, Florida. Now, it was Michael Langston. Shout out to Michael Langston, by the way. But it was Michael Langston who dropped that crystal ball. So you take that for what it's worth. Take any crystal ball, no matter who drops it, with a grain of salt. But Kai Bates has been crystal balled. You just picked up last weekend Jamari Howard, which is another DB. First of all, the DB room strong. I don't want to Hurd's not whatever. Look, I liked Hurd the moment he committed because of the way he committed. He trolled the hell out of the Gators. I loved Hurd the moment he committed. So you're not going to get me to say anything negative. But I am going to keep it real like I always do. I'm going to keep it 100%. At the end of the day, when you're talking about, and we're going to talk about some of the guys that FSU's still targeting, because again, this whole conversation just bleeds into each other. FSU is still targeting some fairly heavy hitters in the secondary at that. They're not done with the Zaquan Pattersons of the world. They're not. Don't forget about the boy out of Coy Perch. I don't know if I'm saying Perch or Perch. Don't forget about him. Top 100 player. Xavier Mincy, apparently that recruitment is gaining major steam. I'm talking about all pure safeties right now, man. So while I don't want to diminish CJ Hurd at all, you got to understand the caliber of opponent, the caliber of player that they're going after right now. I got news for you. The type of receivers they're going after right now, there might be a receiver or two that you're going to have to say, I got to part ways with you, young man, and it's unfortunate, but they're trying to close extremely strong. They're trying to close extremely strong right now. And as we continue to have this conversation, that DB room is sick. That DB room looks like it's gonna end up in freaking insane. Speaking of insane, I don't see insane mob in here, but that so no pun intended, but they're working. I'm not telling you who they're gonna get. I don't know who they're gonna get, but I do. Y'all know me. Matter of fact, I forgot to do my disclaimer. Disclaimer before we do all this recruiting talk. I know nothing. I don't have sources. Don't have the plug. Don't got nothing. Don't know nothing. Tea leaves. Constellations. I just read the stars. I am just a light-skinned dude on YouTube. I don't know. That is my disclaimer. So everything I say, take with a major grain of salt. Matter of fact, don't believe nothing I tell you. I'm just going to tell you what I think, what I predict may happen. Now, let's continue. CJ Hurd has been essentially, to the sounds of it, being pushed out of the class with the way they're recruiting. Now, they might not word it that way. They might not say it that way. Because ultimately, here's the thing with CJ. Again, I think there's a lot of respect to that kid. I think that kid grew up a Florida State fan, to my knowledge. I think actually him and KJ Bolden are pretty good friends. So I don't know if there's some worry there. Maybe not. I would not think so, but you never know. Recruiting gets weird, man. Recruiting gets weird, and you can't predict how these young men will act or how they'll respond. But obviously, big game. I mean, that's going to be the key for this going forward. Is FSU is targeting big names down the stretch. Big names down the stretch. And unfortunately for a guy like CJ Hurd, but it's not like Hurd doesn't lacks for any offers. It's not like other schools won't take him. Again, he's been predicted that he's actually supposed to visit Miami this weekend for the Louisville game. So the flip may be in the process there. And listen, again, this isn't a knock on Hurd. You're not going to get me saying anything bad about CJ Hurd. But you're talking about a kid that's nationally ranked 534. That's his national ranking. FSU right now at the safety position is recruiting Xavier Mincy, the number 70th player nationally. Corey Perch, number 84 nationally. And Kai Bates, who's not a safety, but he's listed as an athlete. But Kai Bates is right outside the top 100 at 104th nationally. They're recruiting a different level of athlete, bro. You got to take – it's a dirty business, man, and recruiting can get dirty, and I know Hurd had a lot of fans, and people want to see Hurd stick. But this is the business. And again, Zaquan Patterson is another one that I think FSU is still trying to flip. That's a national 54th player. He's national 54. They're trying to close. They're trying to close a way that they have not. Mike Norvell has not closed like this potentially since he's been here, and they're trying to make some magic happen down the stretch. So let's continue with I just want to get the CJ stuff out the way, but let's continue. Let's talk about some more positions, some more possible flips and dips, and how FSU is trying to close this class. But before we do that, man, let's get to that comment section. Tyler says Sertain is a killer. He's absolutely killing it, man. Easily the best DB class in the country right now, and I don't even think it's close. And took the words out of my mouth before I could say them. Might be the best DB class FSU ever signs. Might be the best DB class FSU ever signs. Just look at the guys they have right now. Right now, in that DB room, you have the number one safety in America, the 13th player nationally and KJ Bolden. So a top damn near 10 player in the entire country and the number one player at this position. You have the number 4 corner in the country, top 60 nationally, the number 58 player, Charles Lester. So that's a fringe 5-star. Lester's right outside 5-star status. You can call that what you want to call it. He's 5 stars on some boards, but composite ranking, that's right outside 5-star status. Then you go to the guy who's right below him, Jamari Howard. He's a 7th corner nationally, 91. So another top 100 guy. Those are the top 3 guys just off the rip. And then Ricky Knight, man. Ricky Knight's a good one. Composite, 4-star, but he is 414th. And he's listed as an athlete, but we know they want him as a DB. And now you just possibly lost Hurd. But man, crazy. We need lots of trench guys. I'll talk about that in a minute because this year you can kind of cancel that, but we'll talk about that. I promise you I don't. I would not lie to you. I have 0. If he really wants to be a no, be a walk-on first, like Ward did. But that's a bit much to ask. That's not easy to ask. A lot. Some of these kids can't afford to go to school like that. Now I don't know CJ Hurd, and I don't know his financial or his family financial situations. But that's a tough ask to anybody to just be a walk-on when you have guaranteed full rides at other schools. So I don't look at it like that personally. Like, hey, I do what I got to do. There was some of them out there, Jonathan, believe it or not. He wasn't recruiting fast enough for some people. Games hadn't been played yet, and here we are. You know what, Jalen? Let me know. Let me know when. Matter of fact, we'll talk. But I am interested in how your recruitment's going. So let's keep it pushing. Caught up in the comment section. And I'm just gonna go down the list here. First, you know what? I'll talk about this list first. No, you know what? I'm not even gonna do that. I'll just keep that up for reference. But I'm gonna go straight down the commit list or the offer list, excuse me. And we're gonna skip over. Come on, what are we doing? Okay, skip over quarterback, skip over running back. Receiver. We are going to talk some receiver. So why not? Let's get to it. That's another position, man. At FSU right now they're trying to recruit a monster sharks in the water when it comes to this wide receiving room and what they're trying to do here. We all know the big fish is Jeremiah. And I'm going to save him for last, actually. But Cameron Coleman had a lot of nice things to say this past weekend. Still don't know if still think that's going to be I think they're saying Auburn. Auburn's gaining a lot of steam there as well. But you could almost guarantee he's not going to A&M at this point with Jimbo Fisher being fired and all the like. That's the number 8. That's the number 8 player in all of America. Most likely will be decommitting from A&M here shortly. FSU has not calmed down on Josiah Trader. Now, y'all know how I feel about that. I don't think Trader is coming or flipping, may be the better term. Coleman is from Alabama, by the way, yes. Here's what I'll say with the Trader thing. I'm more interested in Trader than I was. Let me say a couple things about the Trader thing. and this might not be a popular take, but I stand by what my eyes and how I feel when I evaluate it. I think LaWayne McCoy, who we already have committed, is as good, if not better, than Trader. That is my personal opinion. I watched those two play on the same football field. And in my opinion, LaWayne McCoy was the second best player on the football field that night, outside of Jeremiah Smith, obviously. That's how I feel. So for me, I've always felt like Trader is not a priority, in my humble opinion. That's not a knock on that kid. That's not saying that kid's not talented. That's not saying if we somehow flipped him, I wouldn't be like, hell yeah, bring it on. I just think LaWayne McCoy is everything that Trader is, and you can't really convince me there's a huge gap between the two, if any gap. So there's that. I say all of that to also say you listen to the best way to gather information is not just listen to everything that's pro FSU. You also got to listen to some of these Miami people and these Florida people and all these other people that's involved in these recruitments. Miami fans, or should I say Miami content creators, Miami beat reporters, the people from Miami that give out information, they are not 100%. They feel good about Trader, but they are acknowledging that he is giving FSU a lot of attention. So take from that what you will. If you ask me, If you ask me, at the end of the day, Trader stays committed to Miami. But the more he talks, we'll see what happens there. I still think he sticks with Miami, but FSU's coming. They're attacking that recruitment hard, the same way they're attacking Jeremiah Smith hard, the same way they're attacking Cameron Coleman hard. Those three big fish that are left, if you ask me here today, I do think FSU lands one of those three. I'm not going to lie to you. That I couldn't tell you which one. I have my feelings. I have my guesses. One of those three may very well commit to Florida State. And let's talk about that third one, because the third one's kind of the one that has all the fire behind it. Jeremiah Smith has there's a lot of trend there. Apparently his visit this past weekend went incredible. I'm trying to figure out what to say because I don't want to come off as a negative Nancy. I can't take the Jeremiah Smith talk serious until I see a decommitment from Ohio State. I wholeheartedly believe this is not going to be a Florida situation where Florida, we can laugh at Florida's pain here for a little bit. The Gators aren't even getting players to decommit from them. They're just straight up. Usually, man, when a player has a good relationship with a team, and they don't want to just blindside them, they drop the decommitment first, thanking the staff, thanking the people that recruited them, thanking all those people and wishing all those people the best, and then they flip. Florida players are just flat out, no statements necessary. They're just flipping to different schools. They're just leaving that dumpster fire in the mud. And I'm saying all that to say, until Jeremiah Smith, which I wholeheartedly believe, because he has that relationship with that Ohio State staff, until Jeremiah Smith releases a decommitment letter thanking Ohio State for the recruiting process and thanking those guys and wishing everybody, that is actually huge news if that's true. If that guy's going to the FAMU game instead of the Tennessee game, you might as well. That crystal ball was a nail on the head by Michael Langston. That is huge, because that's the Classic in Orlando. I'm pretty sure he's from Orlando. Does make sense. Who knows? Maybe he makes his way to Tallahassee again for unofficial. I don't know, but that is big because you don't want him going to that Tennessee. Tennessee's a legit program. You don't want him going to that. The Tennessee's got money to throw. That is good news from Tyler. Now, back Jeremiah Smith. Until I see that decommitment, man, I don't believe I don't believe the rumors. And there's a ton of rumors. There's a ton of rumors surrounding this commitment. I'm getting told a lot of things. Y'all know me. I don't come out here and report things that I'm told because I don't have sources. And that's not what we base this off of. We base off me making predictions. And my gut tells me he sticks with Ohio State, man. It really tells me until I see a decommitment. If I see a decommitment with all the buzz around Jeremiah Smith, if I see a decommitment in the next couple of days, that'd be huge. That would be huge. That's cool. I understand we get all the visits and all of that. Yeah, all of that. If he don't drop a decommitment, one or two things have to happen with Jeremiah. He's either gonna drop that decommitment note, or if he announces a commitment ceremony, that's a dead giveaway that a flip's coming. Because there's no reason to have a ceremony if you've already committed to Ohio State. You see that year in and year out. Anytime a kid has a ceremony and he's already committed, you already know what's happening. He ain't going to the school that he's currently committed to. It's for the shock value. I know there's a lot of good feels around Jeremiah Smith, but I'm just telling you how I feel about that. And I hate to say this. I actually hate to bring this up. People are probably going to hate me for bringing this up. The other two teammates of Jeremiah Smith, their recruitments went eerily similar to Jeremiah Smith's. I hate to be like this negative Nancy, bearer of bad news, or this conspiracy theorist guy. Before Josiah Trader committed to Miami, he was getting a ton of buzz from Florida State. Oh, you go talk to the who's who in FSU spaces. They told you JoJo was committing. And didn't happen. The same exact thing happened with Zaquan. He was damn near crystal balled before Ant committing to Miami. And this one's following a very similar path. I'm not saying he's going to Miami. I'm saying he stands pat. Nobody's trying to play for Miami with that quarterback situation or lack of a quarterback in that team, except for Josiah Trader for whatever reason. I'm just telling you how all three of these recruitments have trended. I'm not saying this one ends the same way. I'm just saying follow the tea leaves, man. We do this to ourselves with every commitment. So here we are again. We'll see how this one plays out. I'm not saying he is or he is. Well, yeah, I'm saying I think he stands pat. But again, if I see that decommitment or if he announces a ceremony, that's a dead giveaway to me. And so we'll see how that plays out, man. I don't think he decommits because we're a run-heavy offense. But with Rodemaker coming in next year as a passing QB, that could change his mind. I think we run the ball about 50-50, so I wouldn't necessarily say we're a run-heavy offense. I think Mike Norvell has shown actually this year he will get the ball in the playmaker's hands, running back or receiver. So don't quite agree with that, Joe. And Brandon kind of says the same thing. And so does Dupree. So no offense to Joe, but yeah. Seminole Zach says facts. Hey, I'm just telling you how these things play out. Marco, our resident Louisville fan, all summer. You didn't warn me. At the end of the day, take care of Miami first, and then you can line it up. Line it up in Charlotte, Marco. By all means, please. We're waiting for you. We already got our tickets booked. I don't know about Louisville. Y'all still trying to get in there. But make the game, and here we are. Jeremiah been on campus way more. Jeremiah has been on every campus. Don't how do I say this? Jeremiah will be in Miami this weekend. Like, don't get yourself hyped. I'm saying that to say he's visited Florida a ton. He's visited every Florida school. He has not visited one Florida school more than any other. So don't take any of that for anything. And I understand we have his last visit, and I never said we didn't have a shot. Definitely have a shot. We'll see how it ends up. What's up, Insane? We gonna talk some other stuff. We talking to some other stuff, but I mean, we can get in Florida hate stuff later on. I want to talk on this recruiting and then this offseason, but throw your Gator shot. I mean, Florida's hate week can start for all I can. Take your shots. Say what you got to say about them. They trash anyway. I mean, we lose Johnny, Keon, likely Jaheim, but we learned a lot of the young guys. But yeah, so this is what I will say. I like where we stand with Jeremiah. I think they've done everything right up until this point. Definitely not saying we don't have a shot. I'm just kind of pointing out how other recruitments trended that were his teammates. And I've talked about this before, so none of that kind of surprises me. And until I see a decommitment, I don't know how I feel about the whole flip thing. I don't see Smith as being the guy who did to just flip. I do think he'll at least send some positive words towards Ohio State. That's just my belief. Don't know. Cameron Coleman, Auburn, I guess, seems to be the team there. He is from Alabama. I don't know. He might be the least likely. Out of the three, he might be the least likely. Again, I think we do get one of these three. I couldn't tell you which one, though. I couldn't tell you which one. But I think we get one of the three. Let's move on, man. I know we spent a lot of time on receivers because Jeremiah Smith is the big name. Tim says if Jeremiah commits, I'm going to read this. Now, y'all take this for what it's worth. I'm going to read it and then I'll give my thoughts. If Jeremiah commits, JoJo's coming with him. They want to stick together, but he don't want to go to Miami at all. That's the only place not willing to join him at. So if we get Smith, definitely get Trader. If that is the case, Tim, and I'm going to push back on this, why didn't Trader commit to Ohio State? He has an offer from Ohio State. As a matter of fact, Trader was crystal ball to Ohio State at one point. So my rebuttal to that, which, I like to give things its proper context. So you can't just tell one side of the story. We got to tell both sides. Why didn't Trader, when he had a chance? I don't know if that offer from Ohio State still stands or not. It may or may not. Ohio State's one of those programs, man. They move on, right? They'll move on. Why didn't Trader commit to a better program with Jeremiah Smith to Ohio State? Because telling me that he's coming with Trader and we're getting Jeremiah and Trader, the likelihood of that happening is probably more likely tomorrow I wake up and sleeping next to me is who will be sleeping next to me? Cole Bailey, and then my bank account would be about 10 mil. That's probably the more likely scenario than FSU landing both Trader and Jeremiah Smith. POLK just tempting our expectations so we don't get hurt. Travis Hunter, he definitely has y'all. He definitely has y'all traumatized. Traumatized. I like to set realistic expectations, though, for sure, Marcus. I could come on here and pump all the sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops in y'all ear because that's what y'all want to hear and tell you, yeah, for sure, FSU's finna land all of these boys. We closing strong. We about to have the number one class in the country. Not saying that can't happen. But is that really what you – again, if you listen to me longer than a day, is that really what you came here for? Or did you come here for me to give you some logic, some real ball talk? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Let's keep it pushing. Wouldn't it be amazing from having the number one player flip from you on signing day to flipping the that would be dope though. That'd be a hell of a turnaround. Absolutely. I want Hakeem Jeremiah. Hakeem and Jeremiah is going to be, if that happens, that's sick. Jeremiah's are going to play. Jeremiah's a day one guy. You've seen Hakeem make strides as he's gotten in better shape. That's going to be crazy. You put Dre in the slot. You still have Dustin Hill, who can play out or in. Man, weapons galore. Hey, I'm just saying. That's what's more likely. I think it's more likely that but hey, what do I know? Jeremiah Smith is going to play the recruiting game. Geno Smith is in his corner. I know we don't believe in silence, but Kai might be a silent. It's not that I don't believe in him. I don't believe in the silence that lasts 6 months. So Kai Bates may have absolutely silent commit this past weekend. But I don't expect the silent commit to go on until January. Should be making an announcement here shortly. I stopped believing silence when people tell me, "Oh, this kid's been silently committed to any school for the last 4 months." No, he hasn't. He's been telling you one thing and doing another. So, silent commits are a thing, but not for half a year. Not for half a year. Let's move on, though, to more positions of interest in this recruiting talk. That's the wide receivers, man. Those are the three big ones that we're trying to go for there. Offensive line. So the one big name that we all know of is Jason Zamandela. That's the Clearwater, currently committed to USC. That's national ranked 41 player in the country, the number one player at his position of interior offensive lineman, believe it or not. I want this one bad. I think this is a good one. If we can get this flip, we already flipped one offensive lineman from USC. Not sure why Zamandela will want to go all the way to Clearwater to play for a Lincoln Riley that is never going to win him anything. This is your future All-American center, I think, in Zamandela, potentially. I was reading up on some stuff from 247. This guy's played his recruitment close to his vest. FSU is still in contact. They're still recruiting him heavy. But he hasn't really tipped his hand on if he's ever going to decommit from Southern Cal or not. I can't predict it, obviously. I get all my information from the same places y'all get y'all information from. So, but I will say this. I think Atkins has been quiet this year. I think next year Atkins picks it up. I think FSU purposely went into this year. You got to remember that class where they got the 6 offensive linemen. That class, next year is the time for that class. And we're gonna talk about offseason and guys kind of being pushed out of the program here. But the Dontre Richardsons, the Quayshawn Sapps, the Jalen Earlys, the Armellas, the Kanai. Next year is going to be the year for those guys, which means FSU will have high priority in offensive and defensive line, I believe, next recruiting cycle. This year, you can see what did they focus on? Skill position, quarterback, and skill position. So, but I think this is the one that Alex Atkins can kind of sneak out here at the end of this. I'm gonna say Atkins gets some. I'm gonna say Atkins doesn't go down quiet until the night. He's gonna get him one. I think that's the one he's gonna get. Now I know Jonathan Daniels is a good one. I still don't know if that guy's an offensive guard or tackle. They still have him listed as a tackle. I don't see it. If those measurables are correct, if Jonathan Daniels, those measurables are correct at 6'3", 280, I don't see where he's an offensive tackle at. But we'll see there. We'll see. I think FSU and Alex Atkins, I think they might get Zan Mandela. I think they might. I'm going to say this right now, just my own personal prediction. Atkins pulls that one out. Defensive. Let's go to edge first. So the edge, Blount's the big one. That's the 5-star. Composite ranking on Blount, that's top 20. That's 4. And that's fifth best player in the state of Florida. A lot of people think he's the best player in the state of Florida. But, of course, him being a reclass and all these things, maybe he's not getting the proper evaluation compared to this cycle. But that's a top 20 player in this cycle, according to the composite. But Fontaine is a guy they're still recruiting out of Booker T. Washington, Atlanta, Georgia. He's currently also committed to Southern Cal. We might be taking a lot of Southern Cal's lunch money this early signing period. I don't know so much about that one. Seems kind of, he's got the location, Atlanta, Georgia. But apparently FSU's got a good relationship with him. And they're still working on him. He's got the measurables. He's the type of guy they recruit. 6'5 and a half, 240, 237, 240. But another guy to keep an eye on is Lugert. And I'm not even going to try to say that last name. Actually, I am going to try. Edokpayi. Edokpayi. Another Maryland guy. So right up there in the same land of D.D. Holmes. Now this kid, forewarning on this one. I'm just going to be absent. I was reading something. I'm just going to be honest with you there. Composite doesn't even have this guy ranked. Okay. He has no national ranking. He's got 0 stars next to his name. Composite don't even have this guy ranked. But he's 6'6", 215. They seem to like him. He made Florida State's like Final 5. Here's the thing about him. He does have 24 scholarship offers. And he's got some decent schools now. He's also got some, but Wisconsin, Virginia Tech, Michigan, A&M. No, Jimbo's not there, but Texas A&M offered this kid. You all know Texas A&M's history with recruiting that D-line. Michigan also offered them. Rutgers, and, of course, Florida State. So that's another one to look at. I'll be honest with you. Let me take a drink. This is where some things get very confusing with me when we start talking about guys being takes and recruiting. So from all accounts, that kid that we just mentioned, the unranked kid, and I know stars don't mean everything. We've had this conversation back and forth about stars. I'm not going to get into it again. They evaluated that kid and they like him. Fine. But I don't understand how he's a take. And I'm being told that this kid, who I think is super talented, also out of Georgia, well, the other kid was from Maryland, but another edge player out of Georgia, who's actually listed as an athlete because he plays some tight end, but another edge player out of Georgia, and King Joseph Edwards, who's also 6'5", 6'4", 230, isn't a take. Allegedly, FSU is, and he's already crystal balled to Colorado. And when I ask, he's not a FSU wasn't recruiting them that hard. FSU, they're recruiting him, but they're not seriously. I don't know if that's somebody trying to ease that recruitment on me and tell, I don't understand how he's not a take and the other kid is. We'll trust the evaluations. For the most part, FSU does a good job of evaluating their guys. So I won't complain there. I just think, man, I think King Joseph Edwards is a talented guy. And I'm not saying this other kid isn't talented. But interesting developments going on there in that recruitment. We'll see if FSU is able to add another. I think they need to add at least a couple more D linemen. But these are edge guys, and I'm gonna close off on when we was talking edge. Again, here we go. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not telling you to believe a word that's about the lies that are about to come out of my mouth. Apparently, FSU's not done with LJ McCray. Apparently, that's still a thing. Apparently, they're still working that one, and they're working that one hard. Again, take that for what it's worth, man. But apparently, Florida State, LJ, I believe, was in Tallahassee this past weekend with his teammate. Wasn't he in Tallahassee with Mincy? I think he might have been in Tallahassee with Xavier Mincy this weekend, who we all know also is FSU's recruiting Xavier Mincy. Teammate of LJ McCray. Like they're recruiting both of those players. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call. All right, back. So don't sleep on the LJ McCray stuff. Now, getting Blount obviously softened the LJ McCray blow, but I was on the record when it happened. A lot of people were trying to spin it. Oh, FSU didn't get McCray because they were more focused on Blount. That's not true at all. You take both. You can play both. I hope FSU's still in there for McCray. Seems like they are still trying. Hey, have not given up on that recruitment. And can you blame them? Because everybody's decommitting from Florida right now. If I'm LJ McCray, I mean, do you want to stay on that sinking ship? I'm telling you right now. I'm not saying Billy's going to get fired because I don't believe he is. But I will say this. If for some reason DJ Lagway decommits, Billy might get fired on the spot. DJ Lagway is the only thing that I think is saving Billy Napier. Because when you have that type of quarterback, that is program changing. That can be program changing type of player. That's the last straw. And we said it. Matter of fact, I said it when Norvell Central, me and Norvell Central talked recruiting a month or so ago. I said I think Florida's class reminds me of 2021 FSU's class, or the Travis Hunter class. That was 2021, correct? I said FSU started off guns blazing in that class. They were a top 10, top 5 class. And you saw how that season, we 5-7. The wheels fell off that class. And of course, we all know the infamous flip of that class. But Travion Williams. FSU had some major pieces decommit from that class that ended up like number 20 or something like that. And you only really kept Sam McCall. You did add AZ at the end, but you couldn't close on the Tyree West of the world. Those were that was that class. This Florida class is lining up just like that. Now, they still are a top 5 class right now, but a lot of people don't think that the decommitments are over when it comes to Florida. Florida State's still working on LJ McCray. So, and he's listed as a D lineman. I think he's a guy who can play on the edge, but you could also throw 30 pounds on LJ and put him on the inside. So I would love to have that. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned to that one, Florida State fans. And then a guy who I do think we're going to end up landing here, and I think, well, actually, before I get to him, there's another one, man. This Artavius Jones, man. Interesting recruitment with this one. 1 minute, the buzz about the flip is on fire. And then it completely dies. And then it picks back up. And then it completely dies. Can't get a read on Artavius. My guess is there's no way Miami's trying to lose this, because Miami, right now, when you talk about recruiting, they have number 11th class overall. They have a solid class. But when you look at last year and you look at this year, they're not recruiting defensive linemen. And I'm talking about the big guys in the middle. They're not recruiting these guys. And Artavius Jones would be the best one that they've signed the last 2 years. Even with the number 7 or 8 class that they ended up with last year, I mean, their best interior D lineman was Josh Horton. And that's the number 39th player at his position. 4-star, but not exactly. So they haven't recruited interior guys very well at Miami. And I'm saying all that to say they're going to do their damnedest to keep Artavius Jones. So that's a need and a want for them. I think FSU's still trying to work it, but don't get me to lie to you. I can't get a feel for this kid again. He goes up and down. He's all around. My guess on Artavius is he ends up sticking with Miami. What's up? Jeff is in the building. Jeff just gave me a cue that I need to get to the comments. And we'll start off with, of course, the $10 dono. Go Knowles. As always, Jeff, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Jeff. Up in the club screaming out Polk County.
The narrative is the staff doesn't like King Joseph Edwards handlers. I don't even know. I don't know if I've ever heard that before, Tyler. I don't know if I've ever heard a kid, and this might just be ignorance talking. This may happen every year, all the time. I don't know. I only can speak for myself. I don't know if I've ever heard of a kid not being recruited because of the term handlers. Is that a kind way to say you don't like the family? You don't like the parents? I don't know. I'll leave that alone. Honestly, don't see LJ as an edge guy. A lot of people don't. I don't see the speed from the outside. Caveman, how you doing? There's also the Michigan State D lineman, Simeon Barrow from the Georgia. Yeah, we can talk some portal stuff. Look, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Joe. When it comes to the portal, you shouldn't even be looking at the portal right now. Not because I don't think they should not go to the portal. We've done the portal thing now for the last few years. We know right now are not the players that's going to be in the portal come end of December, January. The influx of talent that will be in the portal is yet to come. Don't pay attention to the portal right now. That D tackle you're talking about won't be a top 5 D tackle in the portal when the time comes. Believe me. I feel like that's a way to say certain things without saying it. And that's just me. But if they feel that way about them, who am I? I just, whatever there. Lastly, on the defensive line, a guy that I definitely think we're going to end up landing here. Love the body type. He's not a highly ranked player. Hold on, let me get to him. By the way, that Pitt and Boston College are – is that a catch? I don't think that was a catch. I think they ruled it as a catch. If y'all saw that play, y'all think that was a catch by Boston College? So just real quick before we continue, he catches it here. and he takes like 3 steps backwards while the ball's still here. But as soon as he tries to tuck, it falls out. I don't know. Interesting. Let's talk about the last guy that we want to talk about as far as the linemen go, and that's Denaz White. Again, not a highly ranked kid, but you're talking 6'3", 6'4", 330 pounds. You taking that all day, every day? I think so. North Carolina, 677th ranked player in the country. I'll take him for sure. And he's got good. He only has 11 offers, but they're all SEC. His 11 offers are Florida State, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. Louisville, Michigan, Miami. He's got good offers, man. He's got good offers, and when you're built like that, when your body type is like that, you're always gonna, in my opinion, get coveted. And I think Florida State will end up pulling. If you want to talk about D lineman, I think at a minimum we get White to close the D line class. I'm hoping we can add some other stuff along with it with White. We've already covered safeties. I think FSU's done with the cornerbacks. They're not going. There's not a linebacker that there's worth talking about right now. And then athletes, Kai Bates fits the athlete mold. So we good on the recruiting talk as far as I'm concerned. So before we move on, let's get to some more comments. And then we'll move on to what I want to really talk about recruiting. But we're going to finish off on this. We're going to project some off-season stuff because I do think, and we touched on it earlier with CJ, as you continue to try to close strong, you might have to push out some guys. Like we talked about Zan Mandela. And what I didn't mention is it's very possible that in getting a Zan Mandela to flip, right now FSU has 2 guys on that offensive line that aren't going anywhere. As I'm trying to go to the commits. But would anybody be shocked if Jaden Todd or Ty Hilton was pushed out of this class for if you were able to land Zan Mandela? Like, this is the conversations that are going to be had. These are the unfortunate, I don't know, however you view it, but these are the things that's going to happen as they continue to recruit high-end players to close this class. Some of these guys, we already see it with CJ Hurd because he's a safety, and FSU's trying to close strong on some safeties. What if FSU lands Denaz White, who's ranked higher than Jamori Flagg? You would pair Flagg and White if you had to, but what if you're able to flip Artavius? And of course, as you don't want to add too many stuff because you still want to give yourself flexibility in that transfer portal, right? Maybe you push the Jamori Flagg out. Wide receivers, maybe a Camden Fryer or a BJ Gibson. BJ, I'm less worried about. Because if I'm not mistaken, he plays baseball as well. So I'm less worried about BJ Gibson. But maybe FSU says, Camden, I'm getting Jeremiah Smith and JoJo Trader. Like, how crazy would that be? I don't think FSU would push a receiver out if they got Jeremiah Smith. But if they feel like they might get 2 guys, it's possible. It's possible. So, let's move on to the offseason though. And let's see. The dude is huge. You ain't moving Denaz out of the way. What up, Mike? We're gonna have wide receiver DBs dip. We're gonna have a lot of guys. Let's talk about it though. Tafasi is gone. He'll be home. He's been home sick. So I'm not saying Tafasi's gone or not. They've been rumoring Tafasi. Every time people don't see Tafasi on the sidelines. I remember last year there was rumors about Tafasi wasn't happy in the locker room. Maybe it's true. I don't know. I don't know how him being homesick correlates him being gone. I don't know, but we'll see. But we're going to talk about some of the guys that may or may not be out or being pushed out. And then with the guys that you push out, always expect there's going to be people leaving out of the portal that you don't expect. Like, I didn't expect Micah Pittman. I wasn't mad at it, but I didn't expect Micah Pittman. I thought that was an interesting development. I find it weird that Micah Pittman was able to transfer twice and play immediately at Utah. He just was hurt, but Darrell Jackson was not able to play immediately for Florida State. Weird how they pick and choose who gets eligibility and who doesn't. Fryer ain't going anywhere. He's a legacy kid. Yeah, that legacy stuff doesn't always mean anything, but I hear you. I hear you. BJ Cam and any other player we already announced with the base. Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think BJ's going. Like, that's the guy I don't think is going anywhere. Best believe FSU isn't pushing out 4-star. Well, he's a 3-star. He's a 3-star. Well, he's a composite 4-star. So you're correct. We go off the composite. He's a 425th player, 65 wide receiver. He's a low 4-star, right on the fringe there. Fair enough. Look, guys, I know we want him. We'll keep him. We'll see what happens. If you tell me FSU has a chance of Trader, Jeremiah, that they aren't going to push out a receiver, they're not pushing out Elijah Moore. They're not pushing out BJ. They're not pushing out LaWayne McCoy. Granted, I always kind of wanted one of them shifty slot white wide receivers. Those always seem to give everybody fits. I don't know if Florida State's ever even had one of those. So we'll see. But being a legacy hasn't seemed to matter for Florida State. When's the last time that's mattered? We keep talking about, you notice I don't even talk about legacy no more, because when has it mattered? When has it mattered? Now, if Fryer's playing baseball, then that's fair. I think anybody who's tied to both the football team and the baseball team probably have zero to worry about. Everybody's ass is on the line. Man, let's look at this roster. Because we need to look at this roster because let's move on to the offseason. Because it gets interesting when you look at the talent coming in and the recruiting, and you know the portal is going to be a thing. So I want to look at the roster because I want to project a little bit. Let's project a little bit. First of all, let's talk about who's leaving, right? Who do we know is gone? So then we can see what openings we have. Fabo, D lineman, gone. Akeem Dent, safety, gone. Trey Benton's most likely. He's a junior. He does have another year. But Trey's most likely gone, right? We know that. I won't talk about this guy yet because that's a potential Keon Coleman, wide receiver, gone. Kalen DeLoach, senior, gone. Jarrett Verse, junior, but he's gone. Jaheim Bell's an interesting one. My thoughts tell me Jaheim's probably one and done gone. But do the numbers justify a top-tier draft status for Jaheim, or is he going to put everything and bank everything on the combine? He's an athlete, doesn't have the best measurables for NFL tight end. He's only 6'3", 239. That's a question mark next to Jaheim Bell. Dennis Briggs gone. Jerry Jones gone. Ronaldo Green gone. Of course, quarterback position's up for grabs. Johnny's probably gone. Tatum Bethune gone. Ventrell has another year. I don't think Ventrell's gone. I think Ventrell comes back. He's only a junior. A lot of these other guys, I pretty much just named everybody who you can expect to go, who like not expect to go, but kind of have to go. Like Trey Benson has to go. He's a running back. He needs to go now. Braden Fisk, obviously, he's gone. Bless Harris is gone. Casey Roddick's gone. Meach has been in college 7 years. He's definitely gone. So now that we know everybody that's gone. So those are all the players that are for sure leaving. And we've mixed in the players that are going to play in the NFL most likely early. Now you got to ask yourself, okay, those are the openings that's on this roster now. I named a bunch of O-linemen, Bless, just off the top, Bless, Roddick, and who am I forgetting? Meach are gone. That's off the top. Those are 3 starters off your O-line out of the door. Fabo, Briggs, versus Fabo Briggs versus those are 3 Fisk, 4 D linemen gone. I don't think Josh. There was a point in the season where I thought maybe Joshua Farmer might flirt with it, and he still may flirt with it. I think that's cooled down a little bit. I expect Joshua Farmer to not go pro. I can't guarantee Joshua Farmer comes back to FSU. We just saw what he did last offseason. He flirted with the transfer portal, whether that was a play to get more money or whatever. He did flirt with it. So I don't think you can count Joshua Farmer automatically in. But your O-line and D-line are going to be up for grabs next year. And your secondary. I mean, you're going to need a new safety, a new starting a new corner at one spot. The good news about that secondary, you know the type of talent you're bringing in. I'm doing all of this to try to set up the recruiting class that's coming in, who's leaving and who's staying. But now you got to think to yourself, okay, the transfer portal is a real deal. No matter how much you like it, hate it, no matter how much you think that winning games is not what keeps kids not from hitting the portal. So you have to ask yourself, who on this team is hitting the portal next year? And what would be the reasons for them? So let's just go through the list because there's a lot of potential candidates to the portal. And I'm going to tell you right now, unless your name is, and I'll keep the freshmen in the loop here, even though we haven't seen anything from Goldie Lawrence yet. He's a freshman. They obviously want to redshirt him. We'll see what happens there. Unless your name's Goldie Lawrence, Dre Jacobs, or Hakeem Dent, if you're in a wide receiver, that exit interview might be coming, and it might be coming to you fast, especially if FSU closes the way they think they may close in the transfer portal. In recruiting. And that includes, and Dustin Hill. I'm sorry, Dustin Hill. Unless you're Dustin Hill, Hakeem Williams, Mandrevius Jacobs, and Goldie Lawrence. Unless you're those 4 guys. And yes, that includes Portier. That includes Deuce. That includes Darian Williamson. That includes anybody else you want to name. It includes them. It includes them. Ja'Kai Douglas, as much as I like Ja'Kai, and Ja'Kai's been a good player since he's been healthy for you this year. And you see that Jordan Travis likes Ja'Kai way more than he liked Winston Wright. He actually targets Ja'Kai Douglas, and that you wouldn't even throw the ball Winston Wright's way. For whatever reason, maybe it was more of a Winston Wright thing than it was anything else. So all that talk about using the slot guy, yeah, Ja'Kai Douglas has filled that role. But who's to say? Ja'Kai Douglas, and I'm just sticking on receivers right now, but we'll jump all over the place here. Deuce Spann is another one. He's made a mark on this team by being a valid return guy. So if anything, that keeps him on the roster. So not everybody who's going to hit the portal is going to hit the portal because the team wants him to hit. Maybe Deuce Spann wants a bigger role as a receiver, but FSU only sees him as a return specialist. That could be a reason for Deuce to hit. I already mentioned Dustin and Hakeem and all these guys. They're not going anywhere. But Portier, Williamson, who can't stay healthy for more than 2 or 3 games a year, it seems. Joshua Burrell. There's some guys that's going to hit that transfer portal this offseason who's been on this team a while, especially in that receiving room. And you better believe, I'm going to tell you one thing that I almost guarantee Florida State's going to do. They will keep a spot open in that receiving room, even with all the recruiting talent that's coming in. They will keep at least one spot open. They will keep at least one spot open in case the next Keon Coleman hits the transfer portal. Because you got to always give yourself a shot. They will have themselves in position if a number 1 receiver hits the portal again to land them. You can expect that. So if I had to guess, this is what I'll guess. And I see hold on, we got a super chat here. Everybody says, what's up, Polk? I'm late to the channel. We just talking recruiting and some off-season moves that may or may not happen, kind of projecting the off-season, but appreciate you, Irv.
Yeah, more money, yeah, more money, yeah.
I don't know what you guys think, right? But if we're picking receivers right now, and I'm being 100% honest with you, I think Ja'Kai stays. I think they'll keep a guy like Portier because he's an experienced veteran. I don't know what the ceiling is there. Here's what I think for sure is happening. Joshua Burrell, and I know they talk very highly of Darian Williamson, but at some point, the rubber's got to meet the road. And if you can't stay healthy, I don't see a way Darian stays on this team. Joshua Burrell is for sure out of here. And I'm not saying that because I want him gone. I'm just telling you what I project. Burrell's probably gone. And I think because you want to keep Deuce Spann as your return specialist, I think and I don't think you want to get rid of Ja'Kai. They may have to choose between Tron. They might have to choose between Tron and Darian Williamson. One or the other, if not both. I know people don't like to hear that, but because we get attached to guys, right? And guys have been here for so long, and we want guys to succeed. I understand all of that. But when you look at Kentron Portier, and he's had some flashes. But if you're telling me my receiving class is, let's just go with the game. If you're telling me my receiver class is Jeremiah Smith and then all the guys that are currently committed with the opportunity, with that one spot that will be left open for a transfer portal guy, does Tron fit? with Hakeem being a year better. Is Tron more talented than Hakeem Williams? Easy answer. What about Vendrivius Jacobs? I know they fit different roles. Do you keep Tron on the roster just because he feels he fills a space as a big receiver? But you're bringing in Elijah Moore. You're bringing in. So those are the tough questions that we have to talk about. And some of your favorite guys might be out of here. Some of your favorite guys might be out of here. And I think when I talk receivers, Burrell for sure. And if you told me that Williamson and Tron were gone next year, it wouldn't shock me. I think those are the three that are on lookout in wide receiver. And then you can also put in, maybe a surprise. Maybe a Goldie Lawrence hits the portal because of the other talent that's being brought in, and maybe he doesn't want to, You can never be sure with the freshman either. But as far as guys that we think for sure, I would go with those three. Let's do running backs. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place. Running backs are interesting because you're going to lose Trey. I don't think Toafili goes anywhere. I'm not sure he's an NFL prospect like that. So he'll be the veteran guy of the bunch. But you're bringing in two very talented guys in Cam, who I think is going to probably get some burn year one. Rodney's shown that he's very good. Keziah Holmes, we've been begging for this guy. Man, we got running backs galore. And that's not even counting guys like Singletary, who's a speed guy. You're bringing in who's the other kid you're bringing in? Danzy. You're bringing in Danzy, who's known as being a speed guy, I think, as well. Somebody's leaving. And the only reason I won't mention CJ is because I think CJ Campbell's still a walk-on. I don't think CJ Campbell's on scholarship. So you might not really need him to leave but if he wants to play, CJ will probably be on the block, the chopping block. And don't be surprised, man. I'm not even going to lie to you. I know we never got to see anything from him. Don't be surprised if a guy like Singletary decides to hit the chopping block as well. I know we didn't get to see anything out of Sam Singletary, but they're bringing in Danzy. They've got all these guys already. Does Sam want to wait his turn? Sam may very well want to compete. A lot of this also comes down to just, do kids want to compete? Do kids want to compete? I think so. I don't think Singletary is going to go anywhere. Or Singleton, excuse me. But I'm not saying it necessarily will shock me. And then CJ's on an academic scholarship. So that's somebody can correct me. I don't see why he would leave. That's just me, though. I don't think Toafili's going anywhere because of the way he's used. We have a lot of running backs. The numbers say somebody should transfer. Running back is going to be a tough position to figure out because the numbers say somebody's going to leave that room, and it might be somebody we don't want to leave. Here's the good news. Maybe not. I don't know. Keziah Holmes isn't going anywhere because he already transferred once. And you see the NCAA is cracking down on the transfer rules. So they're not letting guys transfer a bunch of places all over the place. So Keziah Holmes, as a redshirt junior, he's not going anywhere. He'll be a senior next year. My guess is he's going to get an opportunity to lead that room is going to be my guess. I know you have LT still there, but Keziah will be your true running back. And maybe Rodney. I'm, again, tempting expectations here. I think it's inevitable that somebody leaves that room that you don't want to leave that room. I like Rodney Hill. Think he's a talented player. But if you told me Rodney Hill hit the portal, I wouldn't be shocked. This is the natural maturation in college. The way it's built now, When you're bringing in Cam Davis and you're bringing in Mekhi Danzy, you're bringing in Elijah Moore, you're bringing in talented football players. What do they always say? What's the one thing that said that coaches tell good coaches or just coaches in general, though? What do they tell players? It's their job to do what? To recruit you and then recruit someone better than you. That's what's happening. Someone's going to leave that we don't want to leave. The running back room's loaded, but there's only one football. Now, FSU does play a good amount of running backs. You've actually seen that this year because Zion Holmes has gotten plenty of carries this year. Maybe not as much as we want, but he's gotten his opportunities. Rodney Hill's gotten his opportunities. Of course, Trey Benson and Toafili. So, there's a chance that 4 guys get it. I mean, if you ask me, the 4 guys would have to be Keziah Holmes, Rodney Hill. I think freshman Cam Davis works his way in there, and then Lawrence Toafili. So we'll see. We'll see. I know I'm doing a lot of talking, so I'll get to what y'all talking about in the comments, and then we'll move on to – we'll touch a little bit on quarterback. I don't think quarterback's a tough position to diagnose here. Y'all are jumping all around, so I want to stick with some running backs. Somebody said Sam Singleton. Sam Singleton might have a breakout year. Sam Singleton might very well. Every time Keziah gets the ball, he makes a play. Campbell is gone, but I have a feeling Toafili leaves. With Cam Davis coming, good luck to those others. That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. I think Toafili should have been moved to slot receiver a long time ago. Toafili fills a lot of voids that, go watch NFL running backs, go watch, I think I've mentioned James Cook before with Toafili, but he's the type of guy that the NFL actually like players like Toafili that are versatile and do a lot of different things. We'll lose 2 running. It might be 2. I think for sure you're going to lose 1. I just couldn't tell you who. I just can't tell you who, but I think for sure you lose 1. It could very well be 2. It could very well be 2. Probably the running backs probably won't hit till after spring. The running backs probably don't hit until that depth chart kind of gets figured out. I think Grillmaster makes a good point there. I think the running backs are going to try to compete it out, and I think that lets you know the room's healthy. Guys are going to compete, and whoever gets it, and the guys who don't, they'll just go try to find other opportunities. Let's move on, man. Let's do quarterback just because it's quick. And then we are going to – I guess I just realized the time. We might go a little long on this episode. Y'all know I usually like to keep my hangovers at an hour and 30, so we might go a little long. But I'm cool with this. If you guys are cool with it, I'm cool with it. Do I think Cam could flat out start as a freshman? Possible. Running back's not a position of freshman backs can get on the field. Freshman running backs can get on the field for sure. This isn't like some other positions where you got to build your way, like offensive linemen or even defensive linemen. Freshman backs can get on the field, so it's definitely possible. Quarterback, we all know who's coming. I don't expect FSU to target anybody in the transfer portal. I know that's a big conversation in the fan base right now. With Jordan Travis out the way, is FSU go to the portal? My take on Florida State and the portal has always been the same. Duffy's the obvious answer, right? Even though I want to see Duffy get a fair crack. And I've been steadfast on that. I want AJ Duffy to get a fair crack at it. I'm not so sure Duffy's just the automatic answer, but I understand why everybody thinks so. With all that said, should they target a transfer portal quarterback? I'll answer that here, in my opinion. No. This isn't, and I'm going to take a shot, but this isn't a Miami situation. This isn't even a Florida situation. They're kind of playing Mertz by default. They were lucky to get him. He's actually been not bad this year for all intents and purposes, but the Gators haven't been good, so he's not actually winning them games. But the point of the matter is, you've recruited the position enough that you don't have to go to the portal. Period. You've recruited the position to the point where you do not have to go to the transfer portal. If you go to the portal, when you've recruited Brock Glenn, A.J. Duffy, you still have Tate Rodemaker, who has shown that he's actually grown and developed. What are you telling Luke Croman Hope? What are you telling these? Good luck ever signing another top-tier quarterback under Tony Tokarz and Mike Norvell. Why the hell would I commit to Florida State when they're just going to take a transfer portal quarterback right over me? I've been very bullish on Tony Tokarz. I think he has been instrumental in Jordan Travis's development and his recruiting prowess. Well, now it's time to really see. It's time to really see how good he is, because now we're going to get a chance to see A.J. Duffy, Brock Glenn, and Tate Rodemaker probably have a three-way battle for the spring. I don't think a quarterback hits until the spring gets played out. Same, maybe very interesting or very similar to the running backs. Till the spring gets played out, we won't know the quarterback that hits. If Tokarz is who we think he is, or who I think he is, show me what you've developed at that position. We've recruited the position too well for FSU to be taking a transfer quarterback. If we take one, that means we have failed our evaluations and we have failed at development. That's not a good sign for quarterback coaching. If you agree or disagree, please let me know in the comment. I think FSU would be committing damn near suicide, for lack of a better term, if we were to take a transfer portal quarterback. That's my spill on the quarterback position. Y'all agree with Joe? Joe don't care for Tokarz at all. He doesn't care that we got a 5-star quarterback this cycle. Oh, Joe, they finna drag you. He doesn't care that Brock Glenn looks like a very good evaluation. It's just an interesting take, Joe. I'm just curious of what people think. I just think it's an interesting take. I don't know. Very interesting. I'm glad you agree. I think you can't take one. I just don't. I think Norvell needs to go after Jaleel. No. Hell no. No and hell no. Let's continue to move on from that take. I think this is the point of the stream where we're about to start getting some wild takes, y'all. So buckle up. Joe thinks Tokarz trash, and William thinks we should go get Jaleel Skinner from Miami. Since he brought up Jaleel Skinner, let's go to tight end before we hit that O-line room. Jackson West, I thought you was out last cycle. I still don't know how that. Look, I'm not trying to bang on Jackson West, but Jackson West got to get up out of this program, man. Truth is, Jabril Powers might be on the way out too, because you're bringing in Landon Thomas. Morlock's going to be even better next year. Biscuit's just as good as I just like the dynamic of Marquise and Douglas. A guy that big probably shouldn't move the way he does. And I say this all the time about him. I don't know if I've ever seen Mark. You can tell he was a basketball player. I don't know if I've ever seen the man drop a ball. I don't know if I've ever seen the man drop the ball. And again, I kind of mentioned it earlier, I'm not so sure Jaheim Bell goes pro. He may very well. He doesn't have elite NFL measurables, and your stats aren't going to be something that makes an NFL scout go, okay, he doesn't have the measurables, but bam. So is he going to bank on running unless Jaheim Bell can tell me he's going to go to the combine and run a sub 4.4, it might benefit him to come back. But Jackson West and Jabril Powers, and is Brian Courtney still a tight? I don't even know what Brian Courtney is. And this, Brian Courtney's a kid who, maybe has some whatever, but they don't know if he's a backer. They don't know if he's a tight end yet. Get out of here. At a minimum, Jackson West and Brian Courtney can go. Jabril Powers still has some tools. But them other two, get him out of here. Get him out of here. Jeff, my man Jeff came back not only with a $20 bomb, but he's about to give y'all a piece of his mind. Agree that 100%. I don't think we're going to the transfer portal for a quarterback. But if you have a quarterback in the portal like Caleb Williams type, it has to be someone like that. Elite quarterback can't say no. Okay, I'm going to play your video, and Jeff, and then I want to get to it.
Jeff.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
And I just realized this. So I got to give William, I got to give you this, because I got to give, I got to get it. I got to give this comment that, because this, I can't even believe, I kind of can't believe you said this, William. I think you were trolling, but you got to get this one. Shut that up. I want to hear that shit. Anyways, let's get back to Jeff, because Jeff makes a solid point. But here's what I'll say. Let's look at the history of the transfer portal real quick. Has a Caleb Williams ever hit the portal and not already known where he's going? Caleb Williams hit the portal. No one ever had a shot at him, but wherever Lincoln Riley was going is my point. When he hit, everybody knew he was going straight to USC. Can you think of a quarterback, a top tier one, that hit the portal and everybody didn't already know where he was going? I don't know if FSU has ties to a guy like that. I would say no, they don't, because it's not like Mike Norvell's not a new coach, and we're not just all of a sudden going to get some brand new offensive coordinator. Let's knock on wood on that. I don't think Alex Atkins is going anywhere this offseason, but things change. So my rebuttal to that, I don't disagree with the premise. What's the likelihood that one jumps in the portal just willy-nilly? Quarterbacks? No. Quarterback's going to hit the portal. He's going to know exactly where he's going before he hits the portal. Like Drake May. When it was rumored that Drake May was being offered all this money by Bama, if Drake May would have hit the portal, he would have been going straight for Bama. It wouldn't have been a bidding war for Drake May. Drake May would already know where he's going. A quarterback of that caliber is not hitting the portal and not know and doesn't already know where he's landing. So that's my take on that one, Jeff. But again, thank you for the comment. Appreciate it. So if you don't know the new rule, players, juniors, they all can get invited to the Senior Bowl and still come back. I mean, we saw Fabo do it last year, but you can go play in the Senior Bowl as a junior or a senior, obviously, just to test your waters, I guess. So just because he got invited doesn't mean he's leaving. But that's just, if Bell comes back, that tight end room is going to scatter this all season. That tight end recruiting is really picking. Yeah, agreed. Skinner played real good and Rhett Lashley. Oh. All right, William, you're losing me. Shut that up. I want to hear that shit. You're losing me. Yeah, Joe. I told you they was gonna get you, Joe. You gotta you gotta have some. If you're gonna say something, you better be able to back it up in this chat. I'm just gonna let you know. I ain't even have to come for you. I knew they was gonna get you. I just let them get you. I'll let y'all do y'all thing with Joe. What's up, Pat? What's up? O-line, since I see some Alex Atkins talk. Obviously, we know who we're losing. But you're bringing back Keandre Jones. Believe it or not, this is going to hurt some people. I'm just going to get right to the point. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it on the offensive line. Robert Scott. I'm just going to be keep it a bean. Y'all know me. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. if I'm making the calls, Robert Scott's got to go. Not because I don't like Robert Scott, but if you can't stay happy, if you can't stay healthy, if I can't get but 2 series a game from Robert Scott, if you miss 4 or 5 games a year out of Robert Scott, I can't do nothing with you. I hate to say it that way, and I hate to be, but that is the dirty facts of the game. I think it might benefit Robert Scott and Florida State if they move on. And I don't like saying that because I am a fan of Robert Scott, the person, more than a player. I think he's I like him. But we talking football. If Robert Scott can't stay healthy and you have Julian Armella, you've got Lucas Simmons, you've got Dontre Richardson waiting in the weeds, it's time to go. It's time to go. Because the way I envision my O-line next year is I got Keandre Jones and Jeremiah Smith as my guards. I think that is the guard combination. I believe it or not, Zoe, I think Maurice Smith is not going anywhere. We try to get rid of Maurice Smith every year, and Maurice Smith doesn't go anywhere. So I'm not until Maurice goes anywhere. Maurice isn't going anywhere. And Maurice hasn't been a problem for us, so I don't even want Maurice gone. He's been obviously the best center, obviously. So I'm not worried about that center spot personally. But Julian Armella at 1 tackle, and if Lucas, preferably you want Lucas Simmons to take like a major step and be ready. But if he's not, Dontre Richardson is still there. Very interested to see if he's ready. But then maybe you try to hit the portal and see if you can find a tackle. Preferably that tackle's already on the team. And I just don't think Robert Scott. There's kind of a point that Maurice doesn't stay all the way healthy. I do. Maurice does not stay as hurt as Robert Scott, though. Zoe's just saying names. Maurice gets banged up, but he's not missing 3-4 games. Like, nah. Again, I'm good with Maurice Smith. I'm not tripping on Maurice Smith at all. But if I had to pick a guy right now, man, it's Robert Scott, and I hate to say that because I think if he would have been healthy, him and Bless Harris, who struggled with health this year, you know, we keep saying, and I saw some comments, FSU's O-line room has been the weakest link. It's also been the most injured unit. So we got to call it spade a spade. Robert Scott can't stay healthy. Maurice Smith has been banged up. Darius Washington continues to play almost damn near every position on the offensive line. I see somebody said Darius Washington gone. I hope not. I would understand if Darius left. Darius might be tired of being the swing O-lineman. Darius might be tired of only being called on when someone goes down. He might want a chance to play full time at somewhere else. So I do understand if Darius Washington was to leave. I'm hoping we keep him because without Darius Washington, we might be in damn big trouble. Because again, Bless Harris stays banged up. We didn't get a game. Well, we got a game out of Bless Harris last year. When he's played, he's been good, but he stays banged up. Robert Scott banged up. And then, of course, we talked about Maurice Smith as well. The O-line has just dealt with so many injuries. But back to the point, yeah, I think Robert Scott's gone. And I do think one of those guys from that class, that big class 2 years ago, I think one of those guys are probably going to leave. We said it when they signed all those guys, like all those guys aren't going to play. So I'm hearing they're very high on Jalen Early. So I don't want to lose. Like the guys I don't want to lose out of that class are Jalen Early and Julian Armella. That's literally the only two. That doesn't mean the other guys aren't good. That doesn't mean the other guys aren't promising. I'm hearing Quayshawn Sapp is starting to make some strides. But as long as I don't lose Armella and Early, I'm good. Charlton's still on the team. I saw him on the sideline when I was at the game Saturday. And he's still got work to do. Kanaya's still got work to do. When if you remember, when we recruited him, I told y'all they had to reshape his body. Kanaya still got work to do on that aspect of it. Sapp might be. I think you will lose Dante Richardson or Quayshawn Sapp or Kanaya Charlton. I think you will lose somebody out of that class from a couple years ago, and maybe Robert Scott. And I hate to say that, and I know that's not a popular thing maybe to say, but again, if you can't play, if you can't stay healthy, you know. So there's gonna be some tough decisions to make in that. Schrader. I forgot about the Schrader and the Bryson Estes. I hear Estes is making some strides too, but that's also a guy who's kind of like it's put up or shut up time this offseason for a guy like Bryson Estes. And who's he gonna beat out? You know, it's I want to see what Sapp can. I want to see what all those guys can do. I don't want them to just flat out get rid of guys. I do want to see what guys can do, but Thomas Schrader, Bryson Estes, some of these guys are just going to leave. You're bringing in Jonathan Daniels. You're bringing in ITT, whatever his name is. You also got Otto and Lucas Simmons, who you had last year. They're going to develop. Like, I'm so interested to see what Lucas Simmons looks like at spring next year. Whew. We need him ASAP to be ready to play. Him at left and Julian at right. I mean, you're talking about something, right? So promising young players, but eventually guys are gonna leave. Guys are gonna leave. I think there's gonna be some tough decisions to make on that O-line. And then Alex Atkins, he likes to get veteran guys out of the portal. Like, would anybody be shocked if Alex Atkins pulls another Casey Roddick, Dylan Gibbons guy out of the portal? Like, he likes those guys, whether you like it or don't like it. That seems to be his deal. I'll be honest with you, I'm not so sure we needed to get Casey Roddick out of the portal this year, but we did. And there's a good chance he tries to find another one of those guys. So there's probably going to be about 2 or 3 guys off that O-line that hit the portal. My names as of right now is Robert Scott. I'm going to say Dante Richardson, Robert Scott, and Thomas Schrader. Those are the 3. Again, just projections or predictions. Could be dead wrong here. Could be dead wrong. Charlton read that one. We need 4 offensive linemen out the portal. I don't know about 4. But they will take some guys. I'm almost sure of that. I don't see 4. I agree with this comment though. I think next year is going to be time to see what Atkins has developed. You know, we've been a fan of Atkins because our O-line room was so bad for so long that when we just started getting competent O-line play, it was like, okay, Alex Atkins is a god. And then he recruited a big class. So yes, we've been very high on Atkins this entire time. But next year is going to show, okay, you've had Julian Armella for 3 years. What is that? What's the makeup of that? I do think next year, I think you're right, R. Davies. I think next year is going to show what did you do? What did you do with Julian Armellas? What did you do with the Quayshawn Sapps? What did you do with the Jalen Earlys? What did you do with all those 4-star guys that you brought in? What did you do with them? So it's a good point. As Boston College is driving here to beat Pitt, they are down 13-7, but they are in the red zone. And on 3rd and goal, they just decided to run it. I don't understand that one. Kanaya Charlton got 1 more season. If he don't perform, we got to get his donkey out of here also. Go get a campus security job. Man, so you are tough on these boys. So I think Quayshawn Sapp is the guy they're working on being the next center. At least that's been the talk. It's not so much about counting guys out. It's just, again, I'm just making predictions. Yeah, I don't know why BC did that either, Dar Davis. I don't get I don't get it, but it is 16-17. 5 minutes left though, so BC's got to get a stop and get the ball back. ACC on Thursday nights. So we just covered the whole offense. We're going on 2 hours. Again, if y'all are good, I'm good. Let's close. Let's try to swing through this defense, man, so we can get on up out of here. We'll do the entire D-line. We know who's leaving, but Gilbert Edmonds should be coming back. I'm trying to think. Byron Turner should be coming back. Jaden Jones should be getting actually playing time next year. We'll see what happens that. Lamont Green, will he be able to get on the field next year? Pat Payton's going to come back for sure. As far as interior guys, that's where your Daniel Lyons comes in at. Malcolm Ray still has a year of eligibility. Here, let me check and make sure I'm not missing anybody on that interior. Because Briggs is gone. Obviously, Fisk, Fabo. But Joshua Farmer, Daryl Jackson. One would assume that all of those guys come back. Your D line, Dante Anderson, how does he take a step forward as far as the defensive end go? And then you got RJ and you got Tafasi sort of bringing up the rear there. If Tafasi, so there's been a lot of talk about Tafasi, Aaron Hester. Forgot about Aaron Hester. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Tafasi. And again, we're just talking about transfer portal guys and who may hit the portal. I think Lyons is going nowhere. I agree with you. Like what I see from Lyons when he's on the field. Tafasi is apparently a guy who in camp looks like Tarzan. I don't know what it means that he can't get on the field. There's been a lot of hype around him, but also a lot of rumors that he might. That might be a guy who tries to hit the transfer portal. Is Jaden Floyd's not going anywhere? He's a walk-on anyway, y'all. FSU's not processing walk-ons. They're trying to free up some schollies. Jaden Floyd will be all right. Shout out to Jaden Floyd. Talk about it. Nobody gets more screen time in that stadium than Jaden Floyd. If you've been to games. He gets more screen time than anybody because he's hyping everybody up on the sideline. So shout out to Floyd. But Tafasi's a potential candidate. I think he sticks. I think FSU has a need for a player with his build, 6'4", 300. Like you want to keep that in the wings. I don't want him going anywhere. Malcolm Ray's thing about Malcolm Ray is I don't think he plays bad when he's in the game. I saw some people say he would leave. I don't think 99 plays bad when he's in the game. I think you got to pair him with the right individual. I don't think 99 plays bad. Gilbert Edwards definitely coming back. I don't see him leaving. I'm just going down to see who else on that D line. Aaron Hester's probably the main one. The problem with Aaron Hester, I've said it before, I don't see where he fits. They say he's the edge, but he's like 6'1". He's like 6'1", 230. I don't see where Aaron Hester fits. He's not the edge that they have been recruiting. He's not Pat Payton at 6'5". He's not Jaden Jones. He's not, he's not these guys. He's not D.D. Holmes, currently committed to FSU, who's 6'6". So Aaron Hester, first guy off the D-line. That's the main candidate. I think Byron Turner, this was we talked about it before the season that Byron Turner had a make or break season. I think Byron Turner might have had a make season this year. I think he showed in his first really healthy year that he was able to get on there and be an effective player. Was he a great player? No, but he was able to pave a way for himself. So I think Turner's fine. Oh, Pitt about to beat Boston College, y'all. Oh, yeah, 6 just took it for a touchdown. D-line's kind of tight because I don't see a lot of transfer portal options. And matter of fact, I don't even know if FSU can afford to lose anybody from the transfer portal. Like maybe Aaron Hester, maybe him. Everybody else, Florida State needs them to come back. Florida State needs all these guys to come back and gives the players that they're bringing in time. FSU might not see a lot of attrition on that D-line. I don't think Dante Anderson's going anywhere. That's another freshman. I think he's fine. As a matter of fact, he might very well compete for the opposite spot. Because I'm not so sure Gilbert and Pat start. They may very well, because they do bring different dynamics, so it would make sense. But Dante Anderson might be in the 2 deep. I think Dante's going to be fine. I don't think Florida State loses anybody. Not the more I think about it. The more I think about it, I don't. Aaron Hester's the only guy that I can think of. If they really want to process someone out and free up a scholarship or free up a roster spot or whatever the case, that's the guy that I think they would unfortunately target. And again, it's not. I'm not. And I think Dante's still a walk-on too. So I don't know. Again, we're talking about pushing guys out. There's no benefit to pushing Dante Anderson out. No, we can't lose any of them. That's my point. I don't see a lot of attrition in this room at all. I don't see a lot of attrition. Again, maybe Aaron Hester, and even then, you might let him stick around for another year. Maybe I've talked about it with his measurables. Can you move him to linebacker? But speaking of linebacker, since we already got D-line kind of figured out, let's move on to backer. Nobody's leaving from that room because Florida State can't afford to have anybody leave from that room because they're all young. You have really only 2 veteran guys coming back from that room. Lundy's going to be a senior, and Omar Graham's going to be a redshirt sophomore. And Blake Nicholson will be a – does Blake Nicholson still have his red shirt? I think he still has his red shirt. Blake Nicholson may very well be a redshirt freshman next year. I think somebody – I don't know. Have they been playing him on special teams or not? I'm not so sure. So this is a good point, not because he's mentioned Marvin Jones Jr. But we also know, we talk about D-line, FSU will add portal guys. They haven't necessarily recruited big time. I mean, you got Blount. So Blount's going to try to play year 1 for sure. He's going to be in the mix year 1 to play. I think a guy like D.D. Holmes has the size and the measurables to maybe try to do something year 1 as well. But FSU is going to look for a premier pass rusher in the portal, and they will look for an interior guy in the portal. So I'm not bringing it up because of Marvin Jones, but what I am saying is they will definitely be in the portal for that D-line. Back to linebacker, I don't see linebacker being that's another position where I don't think you have a lot of attrition. I mean, they bought in. Unless you think a guy like one of those freshmen, unless you think Dylan Brown Turner or DeMarco Ward or Justin Cryer, who I think they actually like a lot. Because if you actually go watch a lot of Cryer's playing a lot of minutes. Cryer's getting a lot of opportunities. So I don't think Cryer going anywhere. Maybe one of them freshman backers, but outside of that, I think FSU's not losing any backers. And I don't think they'll try to pick up anything in the portal either. I mean, unless a special guy comes along. I think you're gonna have like DJ Lundy and Omar Graham, and the hope that one of those other guys maybe develop. You want Omar Graham to leave? Oh my God! Oh my God, he's lost. I told you this is that time of the stream, man, where we finna get some ridiculous stuff coming out. Shut that up! I want to hear that shit. What's up? What's up, Sarge? Yeah. D-line, you're way more likely to see people come in than leave. Ward need to go. Why are y'all trying to get rid of the freshman? Y'all ain't even seen a freshman player get developed yet, and y'all trying to kick the freshman off of the team. Golly. Omar Graham is a redshirt freshman. Ward, true freshman. And I'm not even high on DeMarco Ward, but that don't mean he can't become a great player. Y'all want to just – y'all don't want no linebackers. Y'all want to get rid of all the linebackers. We wilding out right now, y'all. Boys don't want no backers. They want to get rid of Omar Graham. They want to get rid of Ward. Well, at least ain't nobody say your boy, because we haven't even seen Dylan Brown Turner play, so we don't even know if he's good or not. Whew. Boys trying to get rid of the whole room. We're building a program. Yeah, I know. Half of building a program is developing the players you got. That's part of building a program. It's okay. It's okay. We still got to develop who we got. And they gave scholarships out to DeMarco Ward. They gave scholarships out to Omar Graham Jr., who I actually like, by the way. I don't know why we want to get rid of Omar, but okay. And they gave scholarships out to Dylan Brown Turner and Cryer. Like, they've given these guys scholarships. Let's develop them. Fuck it, Tyler. Yeah. Get Blake Nicholson out of here. What are we doing? Get him out of here. We're no longer accepting mediocrity. My point is we don't even know if they're mediocre, bro. We don't know if they're mediocre. We don't know if they're – if that's the case, then Lundy should have been gone year one. Because y'all know how I told y'all about Lundy. And I still stand by what I said about Lundy. But Lundy has benefited greatly from Tatum Bethune and Kalen DeLoach ascending into the linebackers that they've become, that Lundy's been able to – Lundy's elevated in his role, and he's been a very effective player because now he's used in an effective way. But after year one, everybody should have wanted DJ Lundy to transfer out this school. Because that's the energy y'all giving me with DeMarco Ward and these boys. We haven't even seen these boys play football. But we want these boys up out of here. We want these boys up out of here. Like, can we develop them first? There are make or break years. Freshman year is not a make or break year. Freshman year is not a make or break year. Trust your eyes. That's at the linebacker position. You sure? Maybe, maybe not. My point is you haven't seen him. Y'all haven't seen DeMarco Ward play. Y'all haven't seen Dylan Brown Turner play. Actually, nobody's actually said his name. But okay. I'm just saying, if we want all these linebackers gone, I don't know who's the hell's playing. I don't know who the hell's playing that position next year, because it ain't like we got a bunch of linebackers in the recruitment right now that's ready to play. I mean, we might want to stand fast on the linebacker talk and let these boys develop, because it ain't like we're recruiting a bunch of 5-stars who's coming in to take spots like we're doing at receiver, like we're doing at DB. You might want to let the boys on the roster develop is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I hear you, Irv. Get them out of here. We ain't 3-star. No more 3 stars. Ooh, that linebacker talk. That's amazing. I didn't even expect all of that. DBs, man. Let's do DBs and let's get the hell up out of here, man. Do DBs and get up out of here. This was actually fun. Hit a like button, by the way, if you haven't. DBs. Bro, nobody's going to play next year. We just want everybody to transfer out, and we'll figure it out. But anyway, DBs are interesting because you are losing a veteran in Akeem Dent. You're going to lose a veteran in Ronaldo Green. But you do get Cypress back. But it's going to be very interesting to see DBs the most interesting. man, DB might be the most interesting spot on the entire field because there's elite young talent coming in. Elite young, like not like no offense to that the O-line room that we just talked about, right? They got some good guys coming in. That big O-line recruiting class was a great class, but it's mainly because of numbers. Armella was the highest rated guy in that class, and you had Jalen Early, and I think Quayshawn Sapp rounded it out as a low 4-star. Not any elite guys, right? But you had some good guys. DB's bringing in some elite guys like Charles Lester, KJ Bolden, what's his name? Howard. Am I saying that name wrong? The guy we just got. Yeah, Jamari Howard. And they still trying to sign some big time stuff at safety coming up here. We already talked about the targets. They got Kai Bates target. They trying to close strong here. And then you already see that Hussey as a freshman has just flashed every time he's been in the game. Edwin waiting in the wings. I like Kirkland if he can get healthy. Waiting in the wings. Darius Jones has all the upside in the world. I'm telling you right now, I'm about to contradict myself. I was never really high on this guy coming out. And I'm about to contradict myself here a little bit. Because I think you got to give the freshman time. But this isn't a position where guys need time. Because the elite, you're gonna use Deion Sanders' catchphrase. They coming. The elite guys are coming. Jabril Rawls might want to look somewhere else to go play football because I don't see a path to him getting on the field. Jabril Rawls, Kevin Knowles, love you, Kevin. Kevin Knowles, you grew up to play at Florida State, but I'm sorry, bro. There is not a spot. There is not a spot for you to play football in that secondary. I don't see Kevin Knowles, Jabril Rawls. You want veteran guys like Cypress to stay around. Greedy Vance to still be in the mix. You do want to keep that. Shaheem Brown's probably going to be a leader. Shaheem Brown's probably going to be a leader in that secondary. Obviously, AZ's not going anywhere. He probably moves right into the starting role. But there's some. I don't know, man. Let's look at this DB room real quick because there's some. I don't know, bro. Ashland Baker, he's shown some signs. Is that a guy, Ashland Baker, that you can maybe move to linebacker? He is 6'3", 200 plus. Then maybe that's a guy you can move to backer to help out with that room, since we do want to get rid of every linebacker that plays right now. But I'm trying to look at this DB room because, again, I think AZ's safe. Darius Jones, I think, is safe. I like it. I love his measurables. I think Kirkland's safe. Love his measurables. Those are some big guys and good players. Obviously, Conrad Hussey, as he looks to have a big-time sophomore campaign. But the Jabril Rawls of the world, who else did I say? Kevin Knowles, man. I hate to say it like that, but there's some guys, man, that you're gonna need to see their way out of that room. The good news is, though, very young room. So there's not a lot of attrition that necessarily needs to happen in that room because just naturally you are gonna lose your starting corner Ronaldo Green, your starting safety in Akeem Dent, your starting slot guy in Jarian Jones. I think Fentro's a good senior to have in that room. But yeah, when I look at this room, man, Jabril Rawls. And again, I know I contradicted myself. Difference between the backers and the secondary is the backers don't have 5 stars galore waiting in the weeds. The secondary does. I don't have to wait for Jabril Rawls. I hate to say that. I don't have to wait for Jabril Rawls because I got guys that's ready now. KJ Bolden plays now on this team. You know what I'm saying? So Rawls might be a guy. And again, Ashland Baker is a guy who I think has some tools, but maybe those tools are better served elsewhere. Because again, I don't know where I see him fitting in. So let's read these Raz comments. Then we're gonna get on up out of here, y'all. I don't want to keep y'all too late. But we left off on Terrell telling Zoe he's drunk. So let's go from there. That menace number 3 needs to go. Cypress should leave. First, he transferred here, so we know he can't leave. Number 1. Number 2, even if the young guys are talented, they're still young guys. We need guys like Cypress. We need guys like AZ, Shaheem. We do need that. We do need a core of veteran players to help guide the young guys. So Cypress can stay. Hussey, Brown, and Cypress are the only ones I know ain't leaving. I don't think AZ goes anywhere. But we talk about it, It is possible that a guy that we don't want to go goes. We've talked about it a lot. But I think AZ has a spot. Man, damn. He's leaving anyway. Jones has this extremely high upside, so I don't disagree with this comment here. Man, y'all killing those, man. Y'all killing those in the comment section. I'm convinced Zoe don't want a football. Zozuki don't want a football team next year. He happy with this year. And then next year he like, whatever. Get everybody off the team. We just need Zoe don't want a football team next year. What's up with Rawls? I was never big on the Rawls take. Doesn't mean. Here's the thing with Rawls. Again, doesn't mean he can't be a good player. Doesn't mean he can't develop into a player. My take on the secondary is I don't need to wait on Rawls to develop when I have elite athletes coming in. Jamari Howard, KJ Bolden, Charles Lester, Ricky Knight. Do they land a Kai Bates? I don't need to wait for Rawls to develop. And if Rawls maybe sees that, maybe he wants to go elsewhere. This man is an idiot, man. This is my favorite guy right here. This is Christopher Lee Miller. How good you think Hakeem Williams is going to be at Florida State next season? Really good. My man Christopher Lee Miller in the building. God, dog, no, you didn't just talk. Duh. Man, talking about you. Man, Zoe has lost. Man, Zoe's off. He's lost his marbles, y'all. Greedy transfer hit already, so I don't see Greedy going anywhere. I agree AZ's gonna start. Bro, Zoe on a whole brand new team. All right, yep. So when we used to talk about Dustin Hill, y'all already knew what time it was, but this man just said, "Oh, shut that up! I want to hear that shit." Yep, we losing our marbles in the chat. Y'all don't know how to act. Y'all acting brand new in the chat. Y'all don't know how to act. Y'all are getting beside yourselves. We talking about Jarvis Brownlee now. Zoe want to get rid of the entire team, and we are no longer bare minimum boys. Zoe want to get rid of the entire team. Oh my God. Time to get up out of here, y'all. Hey, man. This was a good conversation. I didn't know it would end this way, but I ain't mad at it. As always, y'all, hit the like button, man. Hit the like button. Continue to share the videos. Man, as you see, the channel is growing, man. The channel is growing. I'm getting like 10 subscribers a week, man, which is pretty good. Pretty good stuff. So the channel's growing. The views are racking up. We're doing all right. We're almost at 500,000 views for the channel, which is a big deal to me. It means, almost 500,000 people know who I am, at least, whether they like me or not. So continue to support me, guys. And you don't have to give me a dime, though I appreciate every donation I get as I try to invest that back into the channel. Just hit the like button, share the video. And if you are new, you just peeped us. You saw how we interact in our chat, man. We have fun. We love to have fun. It ain't just dry football talk, man. We let it come in here and have some fun and joke around. Most interactive show on YouTube for the Florida State football fan. So go ahead and subscribe if you're new. And as always, it is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. We got a gimme game this weekend. We got a gimme game. But that don't mean I won't be live Saturday night. It's a night game, and I think it's a night game on CW. I think it is. So we will be live, and we will talk about what happened. And mostly, though, we're gonna get UF Hate Week started. That dumpster fire that's down there in Hogtown. We're gonna get started on them Saturday night. As always, man, it's your boy Poker Real 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles, and we are out here. Go Noles.